Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Nice to have you here today. This is Comics News Today, of course, and I'm Chester C. Busby III, and we have a few interesting news things to get to today, of course, and always happy to have you guys here with us. Just keep in mind our links down below, of course, to our FanSpeak page on Facebook, as well as the contacts on Facebook and Twitter for me if you want to be a guest on the show or you'd like to be on the fan edition of Drawn and Quartered, which is always a lot of fun to watch that show come together. But nevertheless, welcome everybody. And yeah, it's a kind of interesting day over here for me. We've had some weird weather here, actually, but that's to be expected for spring, I guess.
You guess.
We have Ara in here. We got Night Pope as well. Hello, hello, and of course, everybody. As you know, I'm always joined by Denali. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing wonderful. You know, what can you expect with a Florida weather that tries to suffocate you every spring? Well,
Yeah,
throughout the year, actually.
yeah. Well, mine is more summer where that huge humidity comes up, but I have air
Yeah.
conditioning, so this
Ah,
is a
yep.
miracle of the modern age.
Yep.
So,
The same over here.
I was sitting there today and I was looking. I like watching those YouTube channels that put on all the trailers that are currently out. Whatever genre in. I was looking at the horror ones of upcoming horror movies and the trailers. I like watching. My wife and I both like watching that. And I was watching that this morning, and I forget the name of it, but it was
Hmm.
basically a remake of one of the old bats movies where they have, it's like the birds, but they make them bats. There was a couple movies that did that. One was just straight bats, something had drove them crazy. The other one was like genetically modified, of course. But the funny thing, I was watching this, and the whole movie was about to be quiet. Shh, don't speak. Like that movie we had recently that came out where you had to be really quiet, or the alien monster would hear you and then come and eat you. Um,
Right. To be silent.
to
Yeah.
be silent, to be quiet, to be quiet. And
Yeah.
I just started laughing at myself because I can see myself in that meeting. You get some moron came up and says, "All right, well, you guys know that bats use sound, right? So we're gonna have this horror movie, just like that really popular one that came out, and it's gonna have the bats, and you can't speak because the bats will get you." And they're like, "Yeah," and they threw millions of dollars at it. Of course, completely misunderstanding that bats actually make the sound themselves and then get an echolocation shape of things. It has nothing to do with the sound you make at all.
But Chester, you know what that means? It gives us hope that, you know what, if these idiots can make films and get a concept like that, then any idiot can make a film
This is true. This is true.
and make concept. You
But I
know,
mean, come on, dude. Come on, right? Talk about a
uh,
complete misunderstanding. And no one in the whole process, from beginning to end of making a movie, said, "Hey, wait a minute. That's actually the opposite of how it works." Nobody. Nobody had the brain in them to understand how a bat works. I mean, it's like, didn't you take biology in school? I mean, come on.
mm, I would
It
just
made me
point.
chuckle, man.
I would just point out, Sharknado,
Yeah, but see,
two, one, two, and three.
that's intentionally dense and hokey and silly. It's intentionally so. This movie was taking itself very seriously, right? I just thought it was
It's
funny.
it's awesome.
Yeah, I guess. But I was just, you see these kind of things happen occasionally with movies that come out, and the whole premise is just inane is the proper word to use here.
Hmm.
And it just occasionally, and it just makes me laugh that how it goes through, because a movie takes time, right? From getting
Right.
the screenplay, for getting the getting it greenlit, and then getting it then to get it in the can, as they call it, right? That process takes years. I mean, it's even this a really fast process. You're looking at least a year and a half, 2 years for a movie to become reality, right? And yet, and in that time, nobody understood that you literally have reversed how bats work, right?
Well, if you're getting paid, it's like I don't care. You pay me money, I'll do the work.
I suppose. Did I use RS's fancy word? I guess I said inane. I do apologize.
Yeah.
But I use some of those
No,
weird words sometimes, guys.
we have to educate. We have to raise up the vocabulary.
We do.
It's a must.
One of our viewers actually left a comment in the in the comments. We don't really push the comments much because we're more pushing fan speak, to go over and be part of the community and stuff. But of course, we have this chat we deal with each day. But I do pay attention. I'm sure Denali does too. I do pay attention to the
Yeah.
comments. And someone had an Englisher had said that I had said sticky wicket and was quite proud that an American had a Yankee had the understanding what that meant. And I guess my response to that would be I'm from New England, I suppose, and we know what cricket is. Most Americans have no idea. They would call it a chirping insect, but
You
I
mean
didn't
you
even know
mean
I said it. It just came out, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, you were talking about the game cricket, where they
Yes, of
bat
course.
this little
Well,
thing.
a
Yeah,
sticky wicket is coming from that game, of course,
yeah,
that sport, and sticky wicket just means a difficult situation, a catch 22 between a rock and a hard place. They're all kind of fall into the similar category. Nevertheless,
yeah.
um, let's go ahead and jump over to our news, shall we?
Yep. Let's shall.
We shall. Yes. All right.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I'm going to come over here and share with Denali, of course. But
While he's
let me
doing
bring it
that,
up for here. Go ahead.
yep. Hello, Roger. Hello, chat. Everybody's having a jolly good day.
Yeah, I hope so. I think it's a nice, fun day, and hope everyone's having a good
Sure.
day out there, as
Hello,
usual.
Bullet
And
and Trusty Psychic. Yep.
hey, it's just a psychic, yeah. But Roger Heller's in here as well. Hello, hello, hello. All right,
Yep.
dude, go ahead and kick it off, man.
All right. So from CBR, who took it from Deadline Hollywood, Hawkeye series with Jeremy Renner heading to Disney Plus is going to be basically a solo character TV show, which Hawkeye passing the title from him to Kate Bishop, the new
Hmm.
Hawkeye. So we'll see. We're starting to see the new phase of the MCU moving forward.
Yeah. Now, now, of course, they're calling her Kate Bishop as they did in the comic. We know this was an absolutely failed comic, completely failure, right? But yet it's being put into a
Yeah,
movie, and who knows if they do, or excuse me, a TV series, I believe. And who knows, this they might well do it right, and it could be successful. I think they missed a huge, awesome opportunity because we know that the MCU doesn't follow the comics completely because they can't, right? And it works out in many ways, right? Even Captain Marvel, which came out recently, and of course Brie Larson and herself and her face and the troubles with it. The movie over was a mediocre movie overall, and it did just fine. But in the Infinity War, we saw, or was it a trailer? Maybe it was a trailer for the end game. We saw him training a girl. Now, I thought from the way he was interacting with her that it was his daughter. Now, Denali disagrees with me on
correct.
that. We have no clue. It's just a trailer, right? But I really felt and it might just be simply Jeremy Renner here is a father himself. I don't know. I'm guessing because the way he was interacting with that girl on screen was with just his body position, his expression. It was very much a father with a daughter type of feel, right? And that just might simply be because he is a dad, and that's just how he interacts with young girls, maybe. I don't know, but I got that strong feeling off of that. I watched it back a couple times actually after we had the conversation, and I still feel strongly that was his daughter. But they're using the name Kate Bishop here, which is, of course, from this new nonsense comic that came out, and once again, absolutely failed, right? Canceled very quickly, and I think it's a missed opportunity, though, Denelli. If they had made it his daughter, it makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah, it would make sense, but this is the comic book industry where the movie is being a multi-billion franchise and property, but the comic, the actual product where it's coming from, is on the verge of or is collapsing, and we're just seeing like a zombie Walking Dead kind of situation.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so it doesn't surprise me that these reports of the girl being Kate Bishop, and I mean even when we did the initial trailer for Endgames, and you're watching, it's like, oh, that's his daughter. I said, no, that's Kate Bishop.
Yeah,
I
it's just
call that.
being yeah, no, and I'm sure you're right in the end.
Yeah,
It's just being a father myself. I know I when I see a father interacting with a daughter, I
right.
understand what it looks like, right? But you're probably right. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Edwin's in here. Oh, Edwin, by the way, I don't know if I sent the tweet. Maybe I did. But Dina was our winner last week. She did an awesome piece, by the way. But Dina is the winner, so Dina is your fan guest this week. But thank you very much, Edwin. Now, Ara says, a fellow New Englander here. Love this stream. Well, thank you very much. It's actually interesting. I was actually talking about being a New Englander and with my adult classes last night. And
Hmm.
one thing I think people outside of New England don't understand is we're kind of isolated, right? And you say, "What? You're part of America. You're the original 13 colonies." Well, yeah, yeah, but it doesn't work like that because you see, to our west we have the damn Canucks in Quebec, and then to our south we have those damn
Right.
New Yorkers. We're literally surrounded by noisy and annoying people. Therefore, we New Englanders are very isolated, and therefore we are a community unto ourselves, fighting against the noise of the French and the city peoples. That's how a New Englander feels, by the way, just so you know. Anyway,
Mm.
so no comment. Thanks a lot, Denali. But but of course, we love our French neighbors. But it's also kind of interesting too.
No,
Uh,
even Canadians hate the
Yeah,
French
yeah, that's true.
Canadians.
But
So
because you have that Quebec taking up all that space, actually, when you go to New Brunswick and Nova
yeah,
Scotia and Prince Edward's Island, et cetera, even though
yeah,
that's technically Canada, they're really actually just more of New England because we all have community and relationships. And I got family, or kind of, how you have those families that are so closely connected to you that they're family too, right?
yeah,
We have these kind of relationships, so it's almost like New England really extends all the way up past Prince Edward's Island, really. But because they have the French to their west as well, right? But because the culture is all the same. Anyway, that is completely and absolutely off topic. I do apologize. But
no,
oh
you
well.
don't. But moving on.
Yeah. Well, I just hope that they do a good job with it, right? Because they could take the absolutely failure of a comic that was Kate Bishop Hawkeye, which didn't make any sense, right? And
Right.
and they could turn it into something good. It's possible. It's possible. I will keep the positive jacket on here for this side of it. I will be
Hmm.
the devil's advocate, and yeah, I'm sure I'll be wrong though. Oh. Let's do this one last. Let's do this one here. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. All right, moving on. DC's Young Animal returns with new Doom Patrol comic book series and more. So,
Mm.
a new Doom Patrol by Gerard Way, co-creator of the Umbrella Academy, is helming this new iteration of Doom Patrol.
That could be a good thing though, right?
Yeah,
The Umbrella Academy is very interesting. It's very similar to Doom Patrol. The Doom Patrol TV show is much better than Titans one, a lot better. I mean, they can't get away from, well, we're going to display the gays because no one knows there's homosexuals and we need to bring awareness, which is ridiculous. Everyone, it's just the stupidest thing. But other than that nonsense, which we can't seem to get away with from these days, the Doom Patrol is not bad. Have you watched it yet?
no, I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
um,
But yeah, it's not bad at all actually, and it's coming out piecemeal too. It's not coming out
yeah,
like when Netflix everything gets dropped. So it's yeah, it's much better. That Titan show was an absolute train wreck. But this makes sense to me, you know. And
yeah.
hopefully it'll be good.
Well, one can hope.
Hmm.
They're also coming out with, I think, with another novelist, um, with a new Green Lantern as well.
Oh, really?
Who,
Why?
uh, because why not a Hugo a winning novelist? Bring up the sales, bring up the cry, blah blah blah. You know where we're heading with this one.
Yeah, sure. We'll see though. We'll definitely check it out, and because Doom Patrol right now is getting a lot of love, and that's something I
Yeah,
would have never ever expected would be coming out of my mouth, dude. right? Because Doom Patrol was pretty, niche comic book, man. But cool. I'm happy to see it, and hopefully it's
Yeah,
good. If it's not, we'll tell you, as we usually do.
yeah,
Nick W's in here, and he says, "Hey everybody." Well, hello, Nick. Ara is very
yeah.
happy that I'm preaching the truths of New England, that the rest of America it does not understand our pain. Anyway. Moving
Yes,
on here. Now this one right here, this one is from Samuli Olki. He's
yeah,
my brother from another mother in Norway, and he enjoys being on the FanSpeak, which we suggest all of you go down and be part of FanSpeak on Facebook. That link is down below. Also keep in mind that hitting that like button and subscribing, we of course appreciate. Our community has grown here little by little, and we're up over 570 subs now. I mean, I can't even believe it, dude. I would never expect
yep,
to have that many people. So we thank all of you for subbing to our channels and being part of what we're doing. But of course, hitting that share button is the thing that helps us the most, at least in the immediacy of now, and having people come over and check out what we're doing. But this right here is from Somali, and he
yep,
says, "The Joker out to expose Batman's secrets in Curse of the White Knight, number one, first look." Now, I know White Knight was quite popular, and I know you read it, and
yep,
you're a Batman fan, though. I mean, you read a lot of Batman stuff. So
yep.
why don't you tell us what's going on with this? Do you understand what's going on with this article here?
So basically, the Joker is back to his own shenanigans, but he somehow discover a dark secrets of the Wayne's family past, and he's gonna expose it to the Gotham and over. Which if he does, that's gonna hampers Batman's ability to move forward because he's gonna have to deal with the fallout of all this scandals and everything. Um, and it could be good, it could be bad, but this is another. I feel like another deconstruction project of breaking the myth of who the Waynes really were, and you know, it's gonna be kind of like the Wayne. They were squeaky clean and everything. No, they were actually part of the mafia. They were actually part of the corrupt system. They already
Of
done that
course
with the
they
Court
are.
of Owl,
Yeah.
and the Thomas Wayne was, that whole innocent doctor person. He wasn't innocent. He was just, doing all that to throw, throw the sense off
Yeah.
and
Well, the problem
kind of,
by doing that though, and I hear you
yeah,
mentioned Court of Owls, which was Court of Owl, the Court of Owls was done really well. That's a really good writing. It was a good story. It's
yeah,
very popular. But the thing by taking away the virtue of Batman's parents, what you do is you nick away at Batman himself. Right, meaning his determination, his value that he's fighting for his parents in their tragic and wasteful loss, etc., etc. It takes away from his intention, his modus operandi is all about the justice. He doesn't kill and all that kind of stuff like that. But by making his parents dark and corrupt, you're corrupting Batman, right?
well,
At the very core, you're corrupting him, and of course, this is
right.
their intention. We see that they're whether it's intentional or not. This isn't, we
No,
kind of talk sometimes like this is some kind of big conspiracy. It's not. I think. I think it's just the storytelling that's in their minds these days. All of the stress that's going on across our Western world and et cetera, et cetera. I think it's all playing into it. But this desire to tear everything down to get the colonizer, right? As
right,
Wakanda wants to tell us. It's this kind of nonsense, right? And for me, I haven't read The White Knight yet, even though many of you have said I should, so I probably will. But for me, even the title is mocking Batman, right?
right.
So
So,
we'll see.
I mean, because he ended up being the villain for the original one,
Yeah.
and the Joker being the actually good guy until everything went to haywire because status quo and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could figure out what the I could I can visualize what the pitch was. It's like, you know, it's like even if the truth came out, Batman will become stronger because he's not tied to that family legacy. It's the choices that we make,
Yeah,
what
that's
not the
ridiculous.
choices our family um did that defines a person. So will Batman change even with these truth coming out? No, because he's Batman. It's
Mhm,
he'll be more heroic because he'll face those challenges heads on,
mhm.
and he'll
Well,
he kind of go like that. But you know
well, it kind
it's
of comes back to that old argument of the sins of the father, right?
right,
And this argument's been going on since, you know, Egyptian times, right? We've had
right.
references to it in storytelling and stuff in the past. And the sins of the father to be weighed upon that of the son, the shoulder of the son. And of course, the reality is we can sit in here and pontificate about the virtue of a son being a separate entity and having the right to lead his life and not be burdened by his father's actions, etc. Yada 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 yada. But once again, we can pontificate all we like. It doesn't have anything to do with the practicality of reality. And reality is very simple. The sins of the father most certainly weigh on the shoulders of the son. And therefore, by tearing down, uh, Mr. Wayne, the father, Papa Wayne, you are certainly are tearing down Batman. Of course, it is the ultimate intention, though. Just like today, actually, for the first time, my wife saw the Brightburn trailer. I told you I was looking at the set of horror movies that are coming out this year trailers, and
Right.
it looks good. It looks interesting, but once again, it is tearing down at the very core of what Kal-El is, right? It's saying that, oh, well, if he was raised in a different situation, he could be an absolute monster. And we saw this with, they've done this several times, right? Superman the Red Sun. There's another one where he's
Mhm.
captured by the government, etc. They've tried this story many times, but each time it's about tearing at that core. And of course, the general idea of it is that Kal-El is Kal-El. He, at his core, is a good person, and he will always be so. But they have to question it. So Brightburn is very conflicting thing for me because it looks good. It looks really good. But then at the same time, it's like I don't want to see another movie that's just tearing down the Superman mythos again. Anyway, thank you very much, Ara. Very happy to have you here, man. And we do appreciate all of our viewers coming over and supporting us day to day as you guys do is absolutely awesome. But I think we went on this enough.
Yeah,
Give us your comments. Tell us what you think about this situation and what they're doing here. For me, it seems a bit odd, but let's go mention this just real quick. Everybody, there is an Indiegogo going on. I'm not sure if it's on IndieCrowd. It probably is. But this is coming from Chuck Dixon, the amazing Chuck Dixon, of course, who is very happily a member of our community here. And basically, what he's doing is he's bringing him back Airboy. Right now, I don't know if you guys know this character or not, but it's a really cool book, and I'm looking forward to Chuck doing it. And he's already got some success here. We're already up to $12,000, so it's doing well. And yeah, I'm not going to spend much time on this, and maybe we can get a hold of Chuck and bring him in here to talk. Well, actually, we should just contact Chuck and bring him in to talk about this project. I think it could be fun. But this is, yeah, so I'll save that. But I just want to mention it because, Airboy, Chuck Dixon, awesome, right? Go ahead, Denard.
absolutely. All right. Univision finally finds buyer for Gizmodo Media Group. They sold it to a private equity firm that bought it for less than $50 million. They don't say exactly the exact number, but it was less than $50 million.
Yeah,
So it went from $500 million assets of Media Group
hmm,
to less than 50. So they bought that as a bargain. So and I saw further, the new leaderships or old leadership that the new equity firm put in are known to do massive layoff and do subscriber
sure,
base content and you know be the end all and be all for all things. So we'll see a lot of massive layoff, a lot of content behind paywalls, and them not recognizing their audience and the audience that this media group has doesn't like to pay for anything.
sure, yeah,
But so
yeah.
so bye bye.
Well, now it's interesting because Univision, of course, is a mega company, right? But
Right.
Gizmodo has absolutely shot themselves in both feet and each ear and their
Yeah.
ears as well, and every other orifice they could find. But
Yeah.
why would Univision want this tainted, cancerous brand? I mean, why would they even want? I mean, yeah, they got a bargain. I mean, they got it at
Yeah.
basically 10% of its value. But why would they even want to take it? This thing is like absolutely on fire. Why would they want it?
No, they're selling it because they bought it. Um,
Yeah, but I'm saying that anybody who would buy it is what I'm saying. Why would you buy this trash fire?
for the brand alone.
Yeah, but I think the brand is tainted beyond repair, though.
Well, you always get a guru or that person that convinces the people. It's like, hey, if we fire all the people that made this tainted, which they'll do, slowly, not to alert anybody,
Mm.
um, and then start putting actual contents out, then it'll become successful um, in their minds, knowing that unknowingly or deluding themselves that they can turn it around and not realizing this. No, there's not going to turn around because there's a certain
Oh,
culture, you
I see.
know.
I see. So it's kind of like these people that keep saying, socialism just hasn't been done right, and we'll do it right this time. It's like them.
Yeah,
I get it. Okay, I'm on board now. I got it. I'm enlightened now, ladies and gentlemen. Tank
yeah,
Farron says, "How am I just hearing about this new Chuck Dixon comic?" Well, we've actually talked about it a couple times here on the show
yeah.
about this upcoming, and now that it's actually dropped on Indiegogo, I'm definitely going to send a DM over to Chuck and get him on the show and talk about that. I think we of course talked with Ben Henderson. We talked to all the people around him, and I think it's time we get Chuck on the show. I think it's time. He's a really
Yeah.
nice fellow, as you guys know. He's part of this community. He's freaking Chuck Dixon, right? I mean, it is what it is. So
Hmm.
I'm going to give a call over to him, and I'm going to get him on the show to talk about that because it's perfect timing, I think, with his Indiegogo out, and that's what we do. We sit and talk to people about their Indiegogo. We got one tomorrow, and we got one on FanSpeak as well. So we're always looking at that. We get the zombies of Oz or something like that on Friday, and on tomorrow we have Thrasher, which is heavy metal meets alien invasion. Which I mean, come on, that just the premise itself is awesome. But yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to contact Chuck and see if I can't get him on the show. That would be fun. Anyway, let's move on to this right here. I guess is and then we'll get into our last article, which I think is the big one. But
Okay.
go ahead.
So Seth Rogen confirms through his social media that The Preacher will end on season 4 on AMC due to declining ratings and lack of interest from the audience. He,
Yeah.
you know, so there you go. If you enjoy Preacher, your show, you already know about this news that it's ending.
The
Um,
zombified world of Oz. Lol. Yeah, that's right, Eric.
yeah.
And We're gonna have him on to talk about that. Sorry, I mispronounced it. But That's definitely gonna be a cool interview as well, talking about that Indiegogo book with Eric Hawkins. Amazing artist, by the way, guys. Yeah, no, I've watched a couple seasons of Preacher. I kind of stopped watching it, so I guess I didn't watch the third season. I guess simply because it's just kind of aimless. I mean, the first season was all right. I thought it was fine. The second season was less interesting. I just feel that it has no purpose. It has no direction, right? Which
Right.
is too bad because the characters themselves and the premise is kind of interesting. And I read actually some of the comic. I didn't read the whole run, but I did read some of the Preacher stuff. Yeah, I just don't care, and that's not good. You got a show and I don't care. That's a problem, right? So I understand it's ending, but hey, at least they got 4 seasons, right?
Absolutely. I mean, like you mentioned, I picked that up early with the first season because I'm reading this and the sense that I guy's like, oh, we're gonna put all these memorable shock value imagery from the comic books to the TV screen. That's what I felt when I heard Seth Rogen and his team got this property. And then when I saw it, it's like, yeah, they're only just doing the shock treatment. They're not really taking this story seriously, and you
Mm.
can kind of feel it. So I didn't even get past half of season 1. I just kind of stopped because I knew where this was going.
Yeah, as I said, it's kind of aimless. The first season was fine. It was all right, And in a way, I it's kind of like I might have wanted to just end it there. It's kind of like the I don't know if you ever watched it, but the first season of Twin Peaks is kind of an '80s show.
Mm,
The first season of Twin Peaks was awesome, right? And then it wasn't anymore. And I, of course, there's a new Twin Peaks coming, which has David Lynch back at the helm again. So we'll see how that goes. But I think with the season two and that horrible movie, I just think it's completely lost people's interest, right? So we'll see how that does. But that's another one that one season seemed to have been enough, I think.
yeah,
But that can be said about many things. Nevertheless, and Eric Hawkins says it's all good, Chester. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so are we, dude. We definitely want to sit and talk to you about your book. And actually, just with a mention of Fanspeak, we've been mentioning this all along, but I might as well continue with the updating of it. This month will be the last month that we do Fanspeak on Fridays, because my schedule is has been changing radically for the past a month and a half or so. And in May, I'm not going to be able to do Saturdays anymore, which is your Friday. So we're going to move Fanspeak. We're going to have to shuffle around and juggle our shows a little bit here. But don't worry about it.
mm,
We'll let you know exactly where it is. But just understand that we will be juggling it. And we do have the stuff for this week, and we got some stuff coming for next week. So I'm going to actually, if I can't get Chuck on for the 26th, maybe. And see if we can have our last Friday fan speak with Chuck Dixon. That might be fun if we can. Who knows? I mean, he's a pretty busy guy, I'm sure. But but other than that, we will still have FanSpeak, but we're just going to have to move it to a different day. So there will be some adjustment coming up in May, just to remind you again. All right. But nevertheless, let's go ahead and move to our last story of today, which I think is really interesting. We've been talking about these fellows and their, I don't know, political leaning, I guess, for quite a while.
yeah. So MGM hires the Avengers Endgame directors and writers to revamp the studio franchises. So the Russo brothers are going to be the architects of these rebooted franchises, revamped, modernize,
Modernized,
and
yeah.
modernize, yeah. And they're going to be helming a lot of properties. MGM wants to be MGM again, from the golden age where everybody was excited to see their movies, not saying, "Oh, MGM, are they still around?" They
Mhm.
want to move forward. So I guess this hires to, build up that excitement, and especially from the Russo brothers, who directed the all-time billions of dollars movie franchise of the Avengers.
Mhm.
The helm ships for the MCU.
Yeah, no, sure. And of course, the Russos are one that don't really have much time for political correctness. They think it's a bunch
Right.
of nonsense. But yet again, they're going over here and let's see what they're making. And already, I'm seeing something that I have zero interest in, which is unfortunate because, I mean, I like this article overall. I think there is some really interesting things in this article as far as what's going forward. And it's a lot of information, actually, for such a little article, to be honest with you. But
Hmm.
what do we see here? The Thomas Crown Affair with Michael B. Jordan. Now, first of all, how many times are you going to remake this damn story? All this is a soap opera romance novel for women. That's all this is, the Thomas Crown Affair. It's nothing beyond that. But to get Steve McQueen here, of course, I think Pierce Bronson did a version of it. I think can't remember what that bearded, handsome dude from the 70s, 80s. Can't remember his name. He did a version. There's been TV version. I mean, how many times are they going to redo this damn story, man? But now we
A
have Michael B.
billion times.
Jordan, the sexy, sexy man, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm zero interest, zero interest. And once again,
Well.
we
Hmm.
got to have the right color, right? And it's like, why? The Thomas Crown Affair is what it is. Everyone knows what this is, of a certain age anyway. But
Right.
then we're also talking about the Rats of Nim. Now, is this the Nim that I love? Is what they're
Yes,
talking
and
about, a
then
live action
yeah,
version of it?
yeah, the
Okay,
Nims you're
I'm on
talking
board.
about, the
I'm on
book.
board for that.
So what you have to pick up on this, and this is again where we say um, media bias, is he wrote. This is from Deadline, and they wrote what they were interested more to hear about. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's other titles besides just the ones mentioned here.
Mhm.
But
I'd
these were the
imagine.
ones. Yeah, I imagine these were like the ones that the writers was most interested in divulge,
Sure.
about.
Yeah, sure, of
So
course. But the Rats of Nim, or just Nim, it is that is a legendary animation from my childhood. It's everyone of my age or around my age knows this movie, and we love it, and therefore it is something you need to be very careful about touching. And the Russos are really good at storytelling, though. So I mean, it might be good hands to have it in, but ooh, that's a touchy subject to play with. And then we have something called Hacienda, original film, Hacienda or House. I don't know,
yeah,
whatever. Maybe that'll be interesting too. But we also see, according to the Hollywood Trade, this MGM Russo deal was fueled by the idea of the directors remaking classic MGM film franchise, such as the Pink Panther, oof, Poltergeist, which I thought we just had a remake of that, which was horrible, by the way. And it's a
right.
mad, mad, mad world. Uh, so, uh, hmm. Interesting. Like I said, there's a lot of information in this article actually, and if you love this Marvel movies, you got to love the Russos, right? Well, we'll see. Hopefully, it's all good. I still the first thing they brought out with Thomas Crown Affair again, but this time with Michael B. Jordan. God, I don't care at all. But what do you guys think? Is this good news? It sounds like good news. The Russos continue to have opportunities to make films. I think is a good thing. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think
Erica,
overall about this idea, Denali? We've just been kind of talking about the report, but what's your opinion?
I mean, it sounds great on paper, but I've learned over the just several years just to wait and see what they actually produce before being excited or being hyped for anything. Because I remember when Warner Brothers said, "Oh, we're gonna have Christopher Nolan as the architect and godfather of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or not the Marvel, but the DC Cinematic
DC,
Universe."
yeah,
Yeah, DC. And he's like, "Oh, awesome! It's going to be great because look at how well the Batman films were." And
hmm
then we saw what happened, and I'm like, and I'm thinking, what happened? So I'm kind of like, I'm on a way to see. It could be great, it could be awesome, and if so, I'll be the first one to be like happy about that.
yeah.
But
Well,
you know,
Thundero actually has the perfect comment. Yay, more remakes. Of
yeah,
course, he's the Lord of Thunder, so he probably didn't say it like that. But hey, But yeah, it's more remakes. You got these guys who are very creative, very clever. Why don't you just say, hey, come over here to MGM and make us great again, and have go ahead and make what you want. How about that? How about original content? How about not remaking stuff? How about that? Because these guys are extremely capable of what they're doing and what they do. So why don't we let them loose? Let them loose. Cut those strings, man. Uh, you know, it's just more remakes, more and more. It's just showing the bankrupt nature of Hollywood and its inability to be creative, which is kind of ridiculous, But it is also interesting that they've jumped ship from Disney to MGM. That in itself, and of course, we had a little conversation about that as well, Denelli, and
hmm
we know from all the unfortunate rumor mongering and noise that's coming out of Marvel Studios that this next phase, whatever number phase we're on to now, but this next
4.
phase is going to be uh, all lady all the time, and that's either going to be good or bad. And I think what it'll be is a mix of good and bad. I think we'll have hits and misses, but when you start using identity politics to motivate your thinking, you're going to start having more failures than you are having successes. Instead of just
hmm
telling a story, whatever it may be, maybe it is a female story, but it's about telling that story. But when you put the politic in the way, you screw up. And what's that expression that's going around? And oh yeah, get woke, go broke, right? And this is an absolute mistake. We know it is, but it sounds like Disney's going that direction because Disney is better than anybody else at absolutely train wrecking themselves.
Yep, they caused their almost bankruptcy in the '90s, and it took
hmm
somebody who didn't care about anything to bring them out of that. And we got the Renaissance in the '90s,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that guy was ruthless.
it's true.
Um,
Yeah, and so
So
Thunder says, so the Russos are out after Endgame with Marvel. Yep, that's right. That's what this
yep,
article is telling us. They've been hired on almost in a Kevin Feige type of position for MGM. Is what it feels like.
yeah.
It's not
All right.
officially said that, but it feels like that's what they're doing. These are the new Feiges for MGM. And that's a good idea, I think. MGM needs a little bit of love and tender care, right? Obviously, but then again, Disney owns how what percentage of the market now? I mean, ridiculous.
38%.
Yeah, so I mean, all these old companies like MGM, they need to find a way to fight back. And I'm not sure, I'm really not sure if the Thomas Crown Affair and what I don't know what this hacienda is, so I can't mention on it. But the Pink Panther and it's a mad, 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 mad world. I'm really not thinking that's the way to make your comeback, guys. This is very old man, old lady type of stuff, and that's not what the young peoples want. I don't think that's the right direction. Now, the Rats of Nim, that's a cool idea, and Poltergeist has already been remade once. Why jump on that dead horse again? You know what I mean? So I'm not really liking what I see in this article, which is odd because it's an article about the Russo brothers, who I love. But yeah, this is just this is sounds to me like a bunch of old suits sitting in. We gotta bring back those old movies where it was successful. Is what it kind of feels like to me. I mean, look at this
Hmm.
poster from the Pink Panther. That is not today. That is not going to sell today, right? It's just not today. And it's really silly because they should be bringing in new content. You know what you should be doing, MGM? You should be making what today is, right? That's what you should be doing. You should be dictating what the future looks like instead of trying to copy what you did in the past. Did someone just jump on with us, Denali?
Yeah,
Yeah,
George.
George did. Always George making noise. And George, you came at the absolute wrong time because I'm just about to leave. Oh
What?
well. Yeah, no. Anyway, any last comments on the Russo brothers, Denali or George?
Um,
Well,
I am thrilled. I am absolutely thrilled when I heard the news that they're on MGM's list. Uh, MGM has a lot of great properties, and they did wonderful work with the stuff they did for Marvel. But I am worried. I am worried that the vacuum that they leave at Marvel. That's all. That's it. That's where I'm.
Well, I think we've discussed very clearly the reason why they're leaving Marvel because they're not at all pleased where Marvel is going, and we've heard rumbles from them. Right? They were not happy with the thing that was done with Captain Marvel. They were not happy having Captain Marvel thrown into their Endgame movie. They were not happy with it. And since this news is all rather recent, it really sounds to me. I know this is odd because we know that they've had at least a rough structured plan from day one. I mean, it's obvious when you watch these movies, they knew where they were going to go in the end with it, at least roughly, right? How they were, what the color of it as we got there, maybe they didn't know, but they knew we're going to get to this point, right? It was their plan, and that's awesome. But the way the Russos have responded to Captain Marvel and stuff in Endgame, it's as if it was thrown in literally last minute. So they had to make alterations and changes to something that was already read, and even it sounds like from the timing, filming, and then they
Wow.
threw
yeah.
Captain Marvel on them. And they were
Wow.
already in process, so they had to change their story to shoehorn this character that the suits wanted in the movie. Is what it sounds like, right? And I don't
Hmm.
know, we don't know exactly. Of course, we're not sitting here talking to the Russo brothers, but
Well, they had
from it just
massive.
felt that
They
way.
had they had massive
Yeah,
massive reshoots that were still going on until just like last month
yeah,
because you had Nebula, Carrie Gillian say, "Oh, I'm finished with my reshoots," and you don't do reshoots when you're just like a couple weeks away from the movie. And this is they were facilitating reshoots with Captain Marvel. That's what those reshoots were about.
yeah. And you can see from the trailers and stuff, and because they were very the Russos are unhappy about the situation, but you can see from the trailer just with the couple little blips we've got from Captain Marvel, in what they're trying to do I haven't seen the movie, but I can see from the trailer and the Captain Marvel trailers as well. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make her the female Tony Stark, right? Because Tony is snarky, arrogant. He's an ass, right? And in many of the things, we go back and look at who's the people saying, "Oh, the villains aren't great." Well, if you pay attention, actually, Tony is the villain. He's the one that screws up everything. It causes all the trouble. It's freaking Tony Stark, right? But the thing about him is he can be arrogant and ridiculous, but he has such charisma, that actor, Robert Downey Jr., that he can twist it on you and be likable, right? So if this actress, Brie Larson, if she was capable of that same type of thing, well, fine. Right, you could do that, but we know that she can't act her way out of a wet paper bag. So that's a huge mistake to put that level of character on an actress who can't handle it, right? And it's also another thing that comes to my mind. Why do we need a female Tony Stark when we already have Tony Stark? Why do we need a second annoying know-it-all? You know, but this is a huge thing they put on it, and the Russo brothers were absolutely ticked. And I'm kind of wondering if this deal with MGM and maybe had been sitting on the table for months that they've been negotiating with them, and then finally this, Disney pushing Captain Marvel on them just finally made them, cut the string and sign the contract. I'm kind of wondering.
I'm
Uh,
pretty sure that probably pushed them over the edge.
Denelli, correct me if I'm wrong.
Hmm.
Isn't the next level or phase four only planned for 5 years?
Well,
I think
they,
that would be
I
smart
think,
though.
well, I think you're mixing it up because they didn't say 5 years. They're saying that they don't expect to have the X-Men and Fantastic Four for another 5 years. So, um, and the phase could literally be until 10 years kind of deal. Um, but we'll see. They can course correct quickly if the audience starts dropping, which I'll see that happening more and more as they start putting more identity politics. If Captain Marvel's marketing is to be expected for future films, I see this going downhill pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll just have to wait and see because, no
Yeah,
matter what happens though, for me, I've had a decade of awesome superhero movies that I never would have expected of getting. So I got 20 movies that, in general, all of them are at least a five to me. So meaning they're watchable. And some of them are amazing, like the Infinity War, absolutely killer movie. But so I'm happy overall. If we don't get anything good from here on in, yeah, I'm happy with it. I can't be greedy about it. I already have this just smorgasbord of excess that's on top of me. So I can't be really mad going forward. But we'll see how it goes. But it doesn't. It feels the atmosphere feels wrong, right? And here's another thing I'll mention that we've said this before, but when a project or a company is having internal difficulties is when you see leaks start coming out, right? And for instance, the Lucasfilm and all the Star Wars stuff, there's been nothing but leak city, constant leaks coming out of there for each film, and it's because there are two factions at war. You got Kathleen Kennedy's group, and you got, I don't know, the old Lucas group that are
yeah,
constantly
the
battling each
original
other.
guy.
Right.
Yeah,
And there's just leaks coming out like crazy out of there, right? And it's basically shots fired at each other is what's going on. That's what happens, right? And one thing we've seen with Marvel Studios along the way is we've not really had leaks, right? And it's because they're happy. Everyone's pleased to be doing what they're doing. And then when we see the real big faucet of leaks come out, when was the first one? Do you remember?
that was around when Captain Marvel was
Yes.
starting productions.
Captain Marvel, right? And so
Mhm.
we got a long run, literally a decade of happiness over at the MCU because they just weren't leaking. Leaks weren't coming out. They were sticking tight to their NDAs because they're all happy and they're excited to be doing what they're doing. And then Captain Marvel comes around, and also we start getting a bunch of leaks. And of course, this makes sense, right? Because this ridiculous lady goes on to freaking Jimmy Kimmel and complains about her cast. right? It's like,
Hmm.
did anyone give you any PR training whatsoever? So obviously she hates them, and obviously they hate her, and this is what they've stuck us with. Because some suit decided, yeah, we're going to get that Oscar winner there. Well, did you bother go to look at the movie that she supposedly got an Oscar for? No, 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 you didn't. Okay, so it is what it is. Mary Sue Cinematic Universe from now on, maybe we'll have to wait and see. But the all the evidence is starting to pile up, and I usually do kind of. DeWolf and I tend to take the side of the devil's advocate or the optimistic side, but it is getting difficult for me to stand on that hill.
Yep. I like to be right, and I
Yes,
like to
I
say
know,
"told you
Natalie.
so."
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I did see someone here earlier mentioned love to see the Rosas do something with Cyberpunk. So would I. And mentioning Cyberpunk, actually, right now I'm running a couple of tabletop role-playing campaigns here in our community. One is on Dilla Draws, and that's a D&D, a very generic D&D game, but it's a lot of fun. It's more of a how to role-play type of game, where we're teaching all the basics and stuff, and it's fun. But over here on this channel, on Bugbear's Basement right now, we've got through 3 acts of an opening salvo campaign, which is called God's Blood. We did a pretty long session yesterday, actually, a pretty standard session, really 4 hours, but usually we try to keep it about 2 hours. But nevertheless, I'm really pleased with how that world is developing. It's very much a cyberpunk superhero story, and I think it's coming together real nice. I'm liking the way the structure, and next week, where I have the end of the opening introduction to this world, is going to be next week, Bugbear's Basin, which is Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, by the way. But that is really going to bring the world into play, because I'm going to actually reveal a couple of the secrets of the world. So I'm really happy with how that's developing, and of course I have two of the players here with me. How have you guys been enjoying God's Blood?
Oh man,
uh,
I've been trying not to laugh all the time.
What are you
I
laughing
could
about? I don't understand. You don't like it?
I could hear Danelli's laughter every time I make a move.
You're not enjoying it, Danelli?
No, I'm definitely enjoying it. I mean, I'm playing a superpowered 15-year-old kid who's leading a team of superheroes,
Well,
basically.
yeah, but
um,
now there are a little bit of the aspect involved with it that we do have some new people. Being George is the newest and least
yeah,
experienced with role playing, and George doesn't really
yeah, yeah,
understand some of the ways that works, and there's
yeah.
growing pains with that. But that has nothing to do with the story itself.
No,
But
no, no, no,
George is learning.
no,
But I
no.
think George in general wants to burn the world. He's basically playing Batman, and he doesn't
Yes,
understand he's supposed to be a cop. So he'd rather burn the world down and destroy it, instead of be a cop. And I think that's where the laughter is coming from, Denelli.
I guess I don't know. I don't presume to know. I just know that George makes very interesting choices, and
It's true.
I can't.
Well,
I just can't help but laugh and
well,
just okay.
I think
Go
I
ahead.
think also another thing that George doesn't understand, and George is right
Hmm.
here, is that
Yes.
with the tabletop role playing game, it we are yeah, I may well be the game master, and I'm in charge of the world and all the characters in it. Of course, that's my
Hmm.
job. But I think what one thing maybe I didn't explain very clearly to not only here but on the other side, where I'm doing the D&D new players, is that
Hmm.
we are working together to tell a story, right? Even though I'm in charge of all the color and stuff so that you can interact in it, we are trying to work together. And George works at odds with us often. And I think he doesn't understand he's supposed to be helping the narrative and not destroying the narrative. Do you understand what I'm saying, George?
Yeah, yeah. All those adjectives and pronouns and syllables coming out from you, they made perfect sentences.
Okay, so basically you're just being sarcastic. You're going to keep burning the world down and not helping at all.
What? I have no idea. I
Okay.
am Ricky just as soon as the game starts, I'm going like, Ricky, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah,
Ricky's
but
going to
I
do her
know.
own way.
But
She's
see,
a
the thing
mongoose.
is you're having fun on your own. right? At
That's
our
okay.
expense, really. You know, but nevertheless, guys, I was trying to promote that and have you come over, and of course, no one's going to come watch it now because of that little interlude.
No, they're
So
gonna
thank
come
you
over
very
because they're
much for that. Nevertheless, I
no.
guess next week will be the last one of it. Come and watch it or don't. But nevertheless, that's all we have to say today. Go ahead and take us out of here and give us all our information we need to know, Denali, please.
All right. As Chester mentioned earlier in the show, if you're just hopping in, um, this month's going to be the last Fan Speak on Fridays. We're going to be shuffling it around. We'll let you know where Fan Speak will end. Most likely, it'll probably be our Saturday, his Sunday. But we'll let you know about that. In less than an hour or 2 hours from now is going to be the Drawing Court Pro Edition. Join the champion from the fan edition last week as she battles it out with the pros, which will be pretty awesome. And
Yeah,
then
I think so.
tomorrow's,
Dina's a great artist. Yeah.
yeah, Dina, it's going to be awesome. And tomorrow's going to be the fan edition at 10 p.m. Eastern, where, if you're an artist and you're interested, hit up Pixel Trader or Chester to get on the show.
Hmm.
They're more than happy to welcome you. We're a happy community here, and we always want to find new talents and new artists who wants to show their drawing skills, because it's always everybody wins in these types of games.
That's true.
What's the
Then we got
subject for tomorrow's fan edition?
that
Yeah,
will
of
be
course,
determined.
will be determined from today.
Yeah,
Oh, they're doing Game of Thrones today.
Yeah, well, we'll make that decision after we see what they do.
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah. Join us tomorrow. We'll have the creators of Thrasher on as our guests for tomorrow, and then we'll have, I think, Eric Hawkins and his book for this Friday's Van Speak as
Yeah,
our
the
guest as well.
Zombified Wizard of Oz. Yes, that show. Wizard of Oz. I never pronounced that. Say that correctly. I do apologize, Eric, but definitely come check it out though, because Eric is a really great artist and fun to talk to. So that's gonna be fun, and of course Thrasher tomorrow as well.
Absolutely. Then join us for Bunny Vision Movie Night, where we're going to be watching Mothra this Saturday. Mothra.
Does
For
whatever it can.
yeah, that was the American version.
I see.
Chester,
All right.
they were singing the theme song for Mothra, but
I see.
I'll try to find the Japanese version because it tends to be a little bit better than the American version. And then we'll have 10 foil talk on Sunday.
We're talking UFOs, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to come on that show, the TFT, and talk to us about UFOs, if that's something you're interested in, you have maybe some expertise, we'd love to have you on the show. The Tinfoil Talk, of course, we talk about conspiracy theories in a fun way, right? We're not getting so crazy serious about it. We're just having fun. But if you have knowledge you want to share, come on in. That's what we want here. Also, I'm seeing real quick that Nick is talking about asking if he could shill a book before going off, and of course, go ahead, dude. Also keep in mind that Tales from Beyond the Gate has got a few days left, and we're getting close. We've actually had some good movement on that, and there's some great promos been put out, and some that book is really cool. And once again, it's like 160 plus pages for like $30. So we definitely want to see that get over the line, and happy to see it start to moving up again. So definitely go over and support that if you can. And Nick W. I don't know what he wants to promote, but you can put it up in here, and I'll make sure it gets through. Chester, if I was into RPGs, I would be there and show enthusiasm. Well, thank you very much, Eric. Yeah. So Nick, if you're going to put it up, dude. And I'm waiting.
All right. While you're waiting, then, but join us next Tuesday for the continuing adventures of Jupiter 10, and see what shenanigans the Jupiter 10 crew will do to save the world or destroy it. Who knows? At the whim of the of faith. But it's going to be
Well,
funny, and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be action and suspense. So
nice.
don't
Yeah.
miss it.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a really good world that's being built over there. And Dick
Yeah.
W says, Batman artist Graham Nolan's return to Monster Island has only 27 hours remaining. Check it out over at Kickstarter. Absolutely cool. Go check that out. Monster Island, nice. Godzilla stuff always fun. All right, so there you guys go. Denali, go ahead, take us out.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for Comics News today. Hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that share button, hit that like button, and subscribe if you haven't, or tell everybody that you know about how awesome we are because we are awesome.
Are
But
we?
as always, yes, we're very awesome.
Okay.
But as always, your perception shapes your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Later, guys.
Aloha.